If you believe in yourself enough and hold to that, then you can do it. You can make your dream a literal reality. That's been the biggest motto for me is like basically the thought that creates a reality and believing in enough that the universe starts to conspire to make it happen. It just there's no other way. You have no other choice to make it happen because that's how strongly you believe, and then the only way the universe is going to respond is to make that happen.
It will stay at the center of that mountain. There are 7 billion people in the world. Not everyone's going to get this.
Great morning, great afternoon, great evening, wherever this conversation finds you. I am Travis Gray. This is Gray Transforms, and today we are blessed to be transforming with another great guest. This is Megan, the founder of bamboo sunglasses, Bambuddha. And what a fantastic name, Bambuddha. So I had to purchase some. I have my favorite Bambuddha glasses, the honeycombs. Meg's putting her beautiful glasses on too. Those yellow lenses are so awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Yep, this is a great style. A little different than yours, but
I absolutely adored the honeycombs. Like I get so many compliments from them, and I think that people recognize that it kind of matches my eccentricness. And so I was really happy to have met you at Envision Festival
yeah.
so many years ago, and having the opportunity to get these glasses and then just kind of get introduced to the brand, because I love that you are using bamboo, that this is maybe one of the most sustainable materials on the planet. The brand name Bambuddha is so perfect for me. So what inspired you to create this brand?
Well, it's a big story. It's been 11 years now. It's so lovely to meet all of you watching. Thank you for having me. And it's been really a labor of love, and of course, blood, sweat, and tears, and joy as well of all the things. But it really came from my desire to make a change, to do something different, to really inspire people to be sustainable and think differently and make an impact, even if it's just in their choice of different material item that they purchase to wear. So I come from a biology background, so I wanted to do something that was in terms of like in line with conservation. And so after traveling for many years, I figured, well, why not just create a business and have hopefully a bigger impact that way and try to promote something that ties all of my passion, all of my interests together. And then Bambuddha was born. It was such a wild moment for me in the creation process because once I decided to start a business, it was like what 3 days it took me to come up with the idea, come up with the name, register the business, get the sample. Like I just ran with it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is it!" And the name just came to me, and I was like, "Oh, that's the one. That's
I
it." It
love
makes
that.
so much sense because it says so much in the name, right? It's such a play on words that
Mhm,
promote sustainability, but also mindfulness and consciousness of our choices and
mhm.
of ourselves and our impact on the planet.
Yeah, that is awesome. That 3 days is quick to
It was
make all of
intense.
that happen. I love that play on words, of course, the conscious business. Like, how can other businesses be conscious in their approach to the modern world? I teach in a Master's of Business Administration program. So
Okay.
hopefully my students will get an opportunity to check out this conversation so that they have an
Yeah.
idea of what that might look like. For me, this brand, one of the things that I'm resonating so strongly with is that it is through a kind of transpersonal lens. And so what would that mean? That is the consciousness, that is the holistic aspects to it. I know a little bit of background about the what it takes to manufacture and get these things through, and I would love for you to share some of those things. But just the whole approach, from the name, from the focus on conservation and sustainability, from it being a labor of love from your heart, all of those things are the ways that ideally I would like to see a lot more businesses in our modern day operate from, because they're often forgetting some piece of the puzzle. They maybe they don't care about the customer, or they don't care about the people that they work for or with, and just the holistic aspect to it is not really thought of. It's not
Mhm.
very thought through or thoughtful, and that would just not be very Buddha of the brand to not be that way. And so, yeah, Bambuddha, such a great, and I just you
Thank
can't
you.
say that enough. Bambuddha,
I love how
I
you
love
say
that
it too.
so much. I love it.
Uh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so that's really great. So you're originally, you just shared with me you're from British Columbia. Is that
I
where
am.
your interest in conservation comes from? Is that kind of inspired by being native there?
Yeah, I guess, just from my connection to nature here, it's so beautiful, such
Mhm.
a magnificent place to be from. We have mountains, lakes, rivers, ocean. Like, I just became really connected, naturally, and did a lot of outdoor activities and studied. I went into school studying, initially kinesiology, and then I was like, no, I'm more interested in like the landscape and the environment and how things interact and ecosystems and just like helping wildlife and things like that. So I guess that's where it was inspired. And then I initially started my travels doing volunteer work with rehabilitation organizations, like helping baby manatees in Belize and monkeys as well. And then doing some jaguar research as well in Belize. So I really like honed in on that. And then I would have loved to do that as a job, but I couldn't find anything that was not volunteer, or you had to pay to volunteer to get experience for like 2 to 3 years to be actually able to get a job that paid pretty minimal. So I was like, "Okay, that's not sustainable." And that's where I went to down the business line and, and tried to integrate all that. And like you mentioned in the holistic approach, like really trying to make it wasn't a business separate from myself. It was
Mhm.
my soul's expression through business that integrated my life, my health, my joys, love for travel, seeing the world through a new lens was kind of like is kind of the motto, or a new perspective, so to say, and just kind of trying to push people in that direction of like going to see the world and having new experiences and making these choices that are smart for the planet.
I didn't even realize that I was using that terminology, transpersonal lens and,
I didn't
holistic
either.
lens and, yeah, seeing
Totally.
the world through a new lens.
Right?
That's beautiful. So many puns, and I love a
So
good pun.
many, so many.
But that's great. So you were working with baby manatees and jaguars and monkeys and wildlife. That's really incredible. And then to have seen just the way that you worded that was so awesome. Just the business is a part of you. It's a part of your life. It's a part of your life's work,
Mhm,
and that's a beautiful way to approach life. I think we often forget how much of our lives is centered around our offering in the world. Even if it's a 9 to 5 job and I work 40 hours a week, that's still a great majority of my life is spent in that work that I am choosing to participate in. And is it a labor of love? Is it coming from my heart? Is this something I actually would want to do? If I could, when I was younger, I had this, I've said this story a lot. So I had a probation officer that gave me a piece of advice. He said, "Do what you're passionate about and try to make money doing it." And I love that. Like you're seeing that if I go this route, it's not going to be very sustainable to my life as a whole, and I need a little bit more than this is going to be able to offer me. So how can I still hold on to that passion and purpose and mission in my life to be sustainable in my own life through business through these things to build out this brand. I was also recently involved in a study just as a participant on ecological grief. And that
huh.
seems kind of pertinent. I was just interviewed yesterday about my experiences with ecological grief. How has that informed your work with Bambuddha or in your life?
Well, I would love if you could give me a little bit of a definition. I've actually never heard of this term, ecological grief, so I'm kinda new
Ecological
to
grief or
this.
environmental grief, like, do you have any, like, memories or experiences that, stand out to you as this was the moment where you decided, "Oh, I really wanna care for these animals or this environment,"
Mm.
or the aha of, like, I want to take care of the environment."
The moment that popped to my mind as soon as you said that was An experience I had on the ocean here on the Pacific West Coast where I was out on a boat. So I kind of grew up half on the mainland, and there's an island called Vancouver Island, but there's like little, what they're called Gulf Islands around, smaller little islands. So
Mhm.
I would go there a lot, and I had my grandparents had a cabin there. So I would visit often, and I had a friend also that would be visiting there often. So they had a boat and we would go out and go whale watching or hope to find whales, you know? So we would be sitting there and just waiting for them to come. And this one moment, it was like, I'll never forget the connection that I felt in that moment to nature and to wildlife was when two killer whales came up, literally one right behind the boat and under the boat, and then one right beside where I was sitting on the boat. And it looked me in the eye, and I had that spiritual, really profound connection with this whale just for a few moments, you know? But it was such a beautiful experience, and I can recall it so well. It feels so present in my memory. And just having that, I think, stay with me for so long. It's like there's so much more life out here that we don't even see or realize, and there's so much beauty, and there's so much going on in the ecosystem. So I don't know if it was grief per se, but it was more of a majestic experience
Sure, yeah.
that kind of triggered that shift in me, I guess.
That's beautiful. When I was interviewed for this, I couldn't quite find a moment of like I'm grieving for nature. But I had a step family for about 7 years of my life, and their last name was Woods.
Hmm.
And so, for like a key portion of my childhood, I was camping and hunting and fishing and doing all of these nature things. I have like concerns about the loss of ecosystems, like lake beds drying up feels like something that I'm
Yeah.
connected to in a
Okay.
kind of a grievance way. I would definitely want to see the killer whales and all of the sea life to be able to live and thrive in their ecosystems and not be ruined by oil spills or
Exactly.
things like this.
Yeah.
But that what a like a unique experience to be a Canadian island girl.
It is. It is.
I never even heard of that. I
It
didn't
is.
know that.
That's going
I'm
on
sure that
here.
people don't know that such a thing
It's,
exists.
yeah, it's out here, and we have such a beautiful opportunity to really connect and immerse ourselves in nature. Um, you know, the ocean is right there, and we have tons of killer whales. Well, that's the thing too, is that we don't have tons anymore. I feel like they
Right.
are kind of slowly dissipating. You know, their food sources are getting more limited, and so there's a lot of factors involved in sustaining the species here as well. But like, we have tons of forest fires as well, not on the islands, but into the interior of British Columbia. And it's so sad. That's the grievance part for me, is just thinking, and of course I think about the families and people losing their homes and things too, but for me, my first thought and heart goes out to the innocent animals that have no chance, really. You know, they're losing their habitat not only to people moving in and taking over like the land and chopping down trees, but then on top of that, the forest fires that come and scorch everything. So that one's a tough one for me.
Yeah, I wish we would lean back into the indigenous wisdom of the
Mhm.
people that are native to these lands because they seem like they have like a better intuition
Mhm.
and even beyond that, like real tangible knowledge as well, but intuitive for intergenerationally intuitive about how to control and manage fires, forest fires and things like that. I really wish that we would do that. I'm
Mhm.
here in California, so we get a lot of wildfire
Also.
problems in the last
Mhm.
5 6 years. There's been
Totally.
some pretty incredible instances. Yeah, I wish. Do you have any experience with like connecting to more indigenous cultures that has informed your?
I do. So I've really tried to integrate that into the brand as well, because as part of that, like just bringing forth that wisdom and that ancestral knowledge, I think is so important for us to connect back to, like just the connection that these ancestors had to the earth and to everything and every being is so inspiring to me. And I feel like we've gone so far in a different direction and become so disconnected as a species that that's part of the problem, is not knowing that we all live in harmony, or we should, and that what it takes to kind of bring into balance our ecosystem as a whole. So right now I've spent a lot of time in Guatemala. I lived there for about 6 years and have immersed myself in a lot of like the Mayan culture and
Very
tradition.
good.
So I've really tried to tie that into the brand as well. So it started with just integrating works that I've done with women from there who do hand weaving with natural dyes and fiber as well. And so they use their ancestral techniques to create textiles and things like that. And so I'm really trying to bring that forth into the model and the brand of like connecting back to ancient wisdom, although it's through textiles, but and like dyeing through plants and things like that, knowledge to bring that forth and to promote an even deeper level of connection to the earth.
Yeah, I connected a lot with the textile creating culture of the Nahuatl culture in Mexico.
Oh yeah,
This past October, I was in Oaxaca
nice.
for about a week and a half, right around Day of the Dead. So they're doing all kinds of things with marigold flowers,
Mm.
a high leveled textile creation for the purpose of celebrating death. And so that has like this really cool nuance and a really refreshing relationship to something that we all have a connection to and kind of unconscious connection to often. So that's really great that you had experiences in Guatemala with the Mayans there. How did Bambuddha go from idea to action? You said it happened in 3 days, but I think oftentimes entrepreneurs or anybody, we find a lot of resistance inside ourselves. I've done a lot of kind of research in this area of like the Jonah syndrome or like repression of this idea, this sublime that is trying to escape. It's trying to express itself in the product or service that we are called to serve and give to the world, but then somehow we resist that call to action. How did you get from idea to action?
That's a great question. I didn't really have much of resistance, I guess. I was just so determined that I was like, I'm just doing this. And I'm kind of just been that person who doesn't wait for anybody. Like I traveled alone before that. I just just do, I just go. I just think later, take action now kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so when I was doing that in those 3 days, it was just that creation flow. It was like downloading and channeling or something because it
Mhm.
just felt so wild to me. And it was almost like that deeper urge and almost like spirit was pushing me. It was almost like I had no choice. It was
Mhm.
like, this is happening and I'm doing this and this is what I'm meant to be doing. So I didn't really hold myself back in that way. In terms of like later on, I find myself coming through hurdles of like holding myself back, or maybe a good instance would be this conversation of like feeling like I wasn't ready to speak out or to just put myself out there. And, I've kind of been more of the person behind the lines creating the brand where I know I need to kind of step up and bring more of like the face behind the brand kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's almost like I wasn't quite ready. And so finally just getting to this point of like doing this podcast with you is like me pushing through that hurdle of like coming forth and presenting myself, you know? And it's not like I haven't done like some talks here and there, but it's a consistent resistance, I guess, that I feel in that aspect at least. But yeah, in the creation part, it was just free flowing. Like this is how everything was so aligned. Like I knew that's what I had to be doing. Synchronicities, like beautiful things. I actually going to Envision, and I probably tell this story a lot too, but it's just so magnificent because I was in Belize at the time and just working on the website, finalizing the details to publish the website and get it going for the first time. This was like, I guess now almost 11 years ago. And I had met somebody that just came from Envision and they said, "Oh, I just came from Envision." I was like, "Oh, I'd love to be like a sponsor for that. And I think it would be so aligned and so cool." And I posted the website on Instagram that I published and I launched and everything. And then not even 24 hours later, Envision commented on my post and said, "We would love to collaborate with you." And I was like, well, what? So it was just such confirmation as I was going, like immediate, like I didn't even have time to process. It was just like, think it and manifest it. And there it was. So that was kind of my like the push that I kept getting to keep
That's
going.
That's perfect. That's so awesome. That alignment with Envision is very cool. Envision is a great organization. I love their approach is very conscious because they even had a year that I attended that they felt energetically like it didn't really happen in the way that they would want it to happen.
Mhm.
And I experienced some of that while I was there. And then they were conscious of that and were open and communicative to the community of people that are interested in the festival, and made those adjustments and made those pivots
Mhm.
for the following year. And so it's really cool to see that they are able to be so mindful in the process, just as if they were in attendance themselves rather than
Totally.
kind of sky watching everything.
Mhm.
But I think when I first met you, I knew that it would be a good conversation, and so I felt like right away I asked you if you'd
Did.
want to be on the
Yeah.
podcast. And then
Thank you.
I think you're a great face and voice for your brand, and
Thank
those things they're favorable to a brand. Is it necessary to all brands? I wouldn't say so, but
you. Mhm.
they're certainly favorable. It is great when brands, even major brands that we think of today, when they have kind of a face that operates, to be the voice and the face of that brand. It allows it to get to the places that it needs to go.
Yeah.
And there are people that really just would appreciate and desire, and they want to live a life of more sustainability. Hopefully that is the viewers here, as they're interested in transpersonal psychology and things. They're interested in any and all the brands that are working in sustainable ways. It doesn't get more sustainable than bamboo sunglasses, and then your styles are really incredible.
Thank you.
What goes into the making of the styles? How was that ever a learning gap for you to try to figure out how to
Mm.
draw fashion or anything like that?
So I kind of basically use like a simple catalog that the workshop has to choose like what styles, what colors, what lens. Like I do the combination and I make changes as I feel fit. And so I've done like a few drawings and sent it out and get samples. So it's not like too much of like the full on from scratch drawing, like graphic
Right.
design kind of thing. It could be at some point, but I didn't really focus on that being the priority at the moment. But in terms of like understanding what the trends are in society at the moment and just kind of seeing and processing, like, especially because that story I told you of Envision kind of opened the door for me to enter into that, like, transformational spiritual festival, music festival world in terms of,
Right.
like, alignment with the brand, change the trajectory a little bit of the brand because 'cause I'd never been to a festival like that before
Mm.
until I entered as a sponsor with bambuddha, and I was like, "Oh, this is where I need to be. This makes so much sense." And then it just opened a whole slew of doors in that direction. And so then the styles started becoming a little different. And then I was
Mhm.
like creating the honeycombs and creating
Mhm.
more of like these funky festy looks, with like
Yeah.
reflective lenses. And before they were just all like kind of plain lens colors and things like this, more natural vibes, which I still go for as well. But I've really tried to integrate like the retro vintage festival
Mhm.
fun looks and make them kind of stand out from others for sure.
Yeah.
I have a lot of ideas still too. I just haven't been able to implement everything. It's
Yeah.
been a lot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. And so in the early days, you used crowdfunding to build the brand. What was that like for you? And do you have any tips for crowdfunding for entrepreneurs?
I used Kickstarter one time at the beginning. It worked out well. It was successfully funded. I think a lot of the support came from friends and family, which was beautiful.
Right.
Also, it reached out. I did some like PR promotion and some other. This is when like Instagram posts actually got a reach organically, and so like it
Right.
got a lot of traction from those. I would say, like, if somebody's looking to crowdfund, which I would like to do again, I have it on my list to do another Kickstarter with promotion of doing like interchangeable lenses and chakra therapy colors, like coming with frames that open up so you can replace the lens as you feel fit and like give people multiple lens colors. So I have a lot of ideas that I would like to promote in another crowdfunding campaign, but I would like to come at it a little bit differently because I think that I didn't have a lot of promotion about it, like enough. I just kind of rushed as I was going full steam ahead. I was rushing everything, and I could have planned it and prepared a little bit better doing the Kickstarter campaign. and having more promotion around it to actually have a bigger reach and a bigger earning potential for the
Mhm.
funding. So I would say, yeah, just like prior promotion
Mhm.
would be essential, and really just try to get some PR and collabs with other brands that could kind of help promote that as well.
It's so funny how these things are so it's so metaphoric of like a psychedelic experience, and the best way to have a good psychedelic experience is to prepare the landscape ahead of time. And so
Yes,
you're
totally.
you're trying to create these, these experiences inside your brain or in this world. These are profound experiences to create this product and create this brand and make this manifest in your world. So preparing the landscape ahead of time is always going to make that a lot more able to integrate. Can you break down for us like the product journey, and maybe what relationships did you have to develop along the way to build out the supply chain? How does these honeycombs get made?
So initially, I just, again, as I was moving full steam, I just ordered samples from a workshop that I found in China. And then, probably a year into the business, once I had things kind of running a little bit more and the brand and the website going, I did a trip over to China to go visit the workshop, meet everybody, just get a sense for like how the bamboo was farmed, how that was cut and harvested and processed, and the whole shebang. So basically, like, the bamboo is farmed locally at the workshop. It's cut in half, then flattened, pressed by heat, and then it creates these like little rectangle blocks about a centimeter and a half thick. And then from there, it's laser cut into the frame and then hand sanded and dyed and assembled all there at the workshop.
Yeah,
So everything's done at that one spot. Yeah.
that's awesome. It reminds me. Have you ever read this book, Shoe Dog?
I have not. No.
It's Shoe Dog is Phil Knight's memoir, and Phil Knight is the founder of Nike.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's like the memoir of the founding of Nike, and it's a really great book. But it's a lot about manufacturing and supply chain and things. And he did travel to China and Japan, and kind of had these negotiations and stuff. The brand, like the Nike check, like that swish, that Nike swish, like it came out very. I think Phil Knight initially he didn't even like it, and then that became like the,
The whole brand.
the biggest brand
Yeah, right.
ever, the biggest brand logo ever.
Hmm.
It's
Really
really
interesting.
really funny. It's a good book, Shoe Dog.
Oh, yeah.
So, when you think of environmental impact, where does that play in your strategies for distribution and packaging? Like, I don't have the honeycomb case is a little bit
Hmm.
more block, but this. How did you decide that it's a bamboo case would be nice to use, or what are your thoughts in environmental impact and the distribution of this?
Well, I just figured, of course, keep along the lines of bamboo. Like, I want it to be the most natural possible. And I even have ideas moving forward about trying to get more biodegradable lenses and natural dyes on the frames and things like this.
Mhm.
So that was definitely part of the process in the product design, always with the intention to, like, I've been saying this for a long time. It's just been a lot to like get things together and finally make the ideas a reality. But like with the textiles with the women in Guatemala, like having those as the bags inside of the case, because right now they have been like just a black basic cloth, and so that is an important part of the design that I want to implement as well. And there's also another aspect of the case that I would like to change. Pretty much toss the bamboo cake, not toss them, but they are nice. But I have an idea of like this gold grass that could be, it's like sturdy, but shines and it's beautiful. It's more compact. It's
Cool.
more, I think, carry friendly, because a lot of people
Mhm.
say, oh, they're beautiful, but they're a bit bulky in the casing. And there are other companies that do bamboo sunglasses, and I want to kind of differentiate from that and make it more focused on supporting artisans in other areas of the world. So these cases would then come from Brazil, which that means at some point I'll do a trip there to
Mhm.
go meet them and do that whole process. But yeah, in terms of like the distribution of me sending out sunglasses as well, I try to use packaging that's biodegradable
Mm.
and looking up tape that's biodegradable, like if I need to use tape, like craft tape and things like this. And even had like bamboo business cards and, just trying to
Yeah.
really, to down to the fine details of making everything really eco-friendly as I can.
Right. It reminds me of just like how much can one and is one leaning into the ethos of the brand. And so
Mhm.
like if it's bambuddha, the bamboo business cards sound awesome. It sounds phenomenal. I do like these cases a lot.
Yeah, I think I
Like
remember
it's
you
so
saying that.
strong, it's protected, things like that. But I can understand somebody feeling like they are bulky or something.
Well, especially the one that your honeycombs come in a bit more squared, it's bigger.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But
The honeycombs did have I think originally I did get the honeycombs in a case like this, but
too tight.
was, like, harder to fit in a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, so I had to change that up a bit. Yeah, that's the restriction with these cases that the bigger styles, like the hearts shaped ones as well, they don't quite fit there nicely.
Yeah,
So
sure.
that's why kind of redesigning the idea of that. Or I could just offer the all the options and see what the person prefers as
Sh
you can pick at checkout or whatever.
Yeah.
So
So you do work with Guatemala on the cases? Is that what I heard you say?
not on the hard cases, like not on
Yep.
these ones here, but I have also, I'll go and show this. I wanted to show earlier when I mentioned it, but so this is like bamboo
Right.
fiber textile, hand woven, naturally
Mhm,
dyed with plants. So that's like a cleaning cloth that
mhm.
we've designed, and then this is a soft case that
Right.
has soft bamboo fiber on the inside that
Mhm.
was also hand woven and naturally dyed. And so these have been like an option kind of like in sample phases, like I've given them at festivals for the bigger like the honeycombs have come in
Yeah.
this
I
as
think I might
well.
have got it with that.
Yeah, oh, that's how you got it? Yeah.
I
So
think so.
that was been like trials. So I haven't done more of those yet, but I'm just gonna trying to figure out what the
Yeah.
best format is to kind of fit them all.
Mhm.
Yeah. So working on that. But
J
yeah,
j
those are the
just so it's, like, consistent with
consistent.
all
Yeah.
even the odd-shaped glasses.
I think so. I think that would be nice just to have that. It would be easier to manage as well. But yeah, so that's the work that's being done. So I was like, it's funny because I was searching since starting Bambuddha, I had that in mind. Like I want to find indigenous groups that work with textiles and do ancestral techniques and things. It took me like 7 years to find. I would like travel up and down Central America, found some people in Nicaragua, but they it wasn't bamboo, and so I was like on a mission to find people who worked with bamboo fibers. And then I was living in Guatemala and I had traveled all around Guatemala by public bus, just going random places in the middle of nowhere on a hunt for people who worked with bamboo because I kept hearing that people had worked with that there. And anyway, I ended up finding them in the next town, which is like a 10-minute tuk-tuk ride from where I was living. And the next town over was the people now that I'm like integrated and part of their family and we
Nice.
chat all the time. And so like I'm in their community and that's who I'm working with, like their family. And then they have their little community that helps with all their textiles as well.
That's great. So like, you're the central point where these products come from go to, and then you're doing the packaging and sending, is that
Yeah,
correct?
so basically it's looking more like that now, like things are gonna come from a few different places and then this is gonna be like the central hub. I don't know where the business is registered in Canada. It's always been associated with that, but I haven't been here much. Like I do a few festivals in the summer and then I'm usually running off and living in Central America or Mexico or and like with the intention to find the people that I want to work with and always kind of creating and promoting the brand in these places as well. And yeah, so kind of assembling the bringing the pieces together and then having a central point of distribution.
Yeah. Do you end up having, like, your relationships with the manufacturers, whether it's Guatemala or, I imagine that is a little bit, smoother relationship because you're so integrated in the family there. But, do you end up having to order a certain amount of each style? Like, you can't just buy one, right?
Right. So the people in
Just for
Guatemala.
sustainability purposes is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little bit more restrictive with the workshop in China, whereas
Mhm,
I have a minimum order quantity and I try to
mhm.
like dwindle it down a bit as much as I can. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, for consistency and efficiency, there's a certain amount that I need to order. Some styles I have to order more of.
Mhm.
And then with the textiles in Guatemala, it's just kind of whatever works with the financial abilities at the
Right.
time, and they're just happy to have anything to support them
A
and get
business. Yeah.
working. Exactly.
Right. Yeah. That's great. Does it cost a lot to receive that from Guatemala? To receive the cloths and things? Is there like a
It is a bit tricky. Guatemala does have quite high price for shipment. I think I
Mhm.
found a way to do it a bit more efficiently now. I used to
Mhm.
use like a foot carrier forwarder over there, and they charged kind of an arm and a leg. But now I have set up a business DHL account, so I think I'm going to start using that and see if it gets better rates for getting things shipped to Canada from there.
Great. Great. I remembered a question I was gonna ask you
Yeah,
earlier,
sure.
and it was like when I asked you this question about what allowed you to overcome the resistance, I suppose you mentioned things about traveling and even this journey. How long did it take you the years to really find that? You said you're traveling around for years trying to find the right artisan that works with bamboo fibers. How long did that take?
Well, basically, like, since I had the intention to incorporate that into the business, it was about 7 years until I found the people that I wanted to work with. And it wasn't that I was just traveling for finding that, but it
Right.
I was already traveling, and that was one of my
Goals.
missions.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So is there a moment in your life where travel maybe inspired that determination that you had so strongly early in your life, maybe?
Whereas and I traveled, like, late earlier in my life, and then
Because
I wanted to
you mentioned having this strong determination and you're
Mhm,
just kind of a go-go girl
mhm.
that like you have this,
Yeah.
you have this idea and it's action, action, action. And
Mhm,
that's amazing. I think a lot of people look at qualities like that, kind of personality types like that, and they would like for themselves to also possess some of those qualities. Did
mhm,
travel itself that
mm.
had inspired some of that? I wonder.
It was a big part of it for sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. I just felt so free and everything was exciting and new experiences. I mean, I don't know if it's just my personality that I just thrive off of new experiences and
Yeah.
change, but I just it fed me so much energetically and just yeah, gave me a lot of inspiration. Yeah, a lot.
I recognize how wonderfully transformative that travel has been for me, and I've said this before, maybe not on the podcast, but I've said this to people before. There's this sense that I have that our world, for for just what it is, it's been created that kind of favors male. It favors like males can go out and like are not like concerned. That I've never really met too many men that are concerned about going out at night. But
Mm,
for a woman's experience, that might not be the same thing,
mhm,
and a woman could have this experience of never going out past dark by herself because of the natures of the danger in the world.
yeah.
But at the same time, I think that it is such an empowering experience for everyone to
Mhm,
travel. And there's such a limited quantity of, like, statistically, of Americans in the United States that even have passports.
oh,
And I think
wow.
that that's
That's
just,
wild.
yeah, wild. It's like less than 50% of all Americans even have a passport. And then, many are born and raised and pass where they stay.
Right.
But I think that what an empowering experience it would be and can be and is for a woman to go travel the world on her own. The same could just be said just generally, males and females all the same. But I think there's an incredible, I don't know, extraness to it that I observe for a woman to have that experience. What were your early times of traveling by yourself like?
I guess it was a bit of the tomboy me growing up that I was, able to just kind of face those fears and do it anyway kinda
Yeah,
thing. Like, I definitely got a lot of backlash from my mom, "How are you gonna go on your own and do this?" And then at one
right.
point, I bought a van and traveled drove up and down Central America by myself and slept on
Uh,
the side of the highway in Honduras. Like things like that were like very questionable, very risky, probably, like
yeah.
for anybody. But I don't know. I just felt so protected and so like on my path that there was nothing to worry about. I just had to be smart and cautious and conscious about what I was doing.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You had some fear, you had some external concern from your mother or what have you, but you felt the call to take the risks, to
That's
go
it.
travel,
Yeah.
go, grab that van and go down Central America is pretty incredible. I don't know that I could. I mean, I would love to have maybe an experience like that in my life, but I don't know that I could.
Well, a lot of it came from um, my need to just be away on my own. And like a big part of it too was like building the foundation and building the brand of the business was very costly. And so I tried to live minimally or minimalistically as much as possible. And
Yeah.
so, like, living in a van, and also I've been dealing with a lot of health issues. So I just wanted to like isolate, live
Mhm.
cheaply, and
Mhm.
just focus on investing into the business. So it just seemed like that was the place to do it. It didn't make sense for me to stay in Canada because I couldn't work a regular job. I wasn't making enough with the business yet. So it was like this weird space of being in limbo to like just try to make things happen. So that just seemed like the best option for me, and I
Yeah.
just went with it.
I can resonate with trying to limit expenses. 12 years ago, I moved to California from Omaha, Nebraska, from like the Midwest, Council Bluffs, Iowa. But from the Midwest, I moved here 12 years ago and I haven't owned a car since.
Oh,
So
wow.
the
Okay.
entire time I've been here,
Yeah.
I just felt like it was an unnecessary additional expense.
Mm,
It's nice to have a car. I have a driver's license.
mhm.
Once in a while, I'll rent a car even,
Okay.
but having bicycle and public transportation, I think, is
That's it.
so beautiful. And I actually wish that more of the local community would be more inclined to use public transportation rather than
Mhm.
having more traffic, more cars, more fuel burned, just more waste in the world.
Mhm.
So I do resonate with that looking for ways to limit the expenses when you're on this hero's journey trajectory of your life and the creating of bambuddha.
Right, a very expensive journey, just life on its own. I mean, it's
Yeah.
costly enough, especially where, I don't know how I think it's quite a lot in California to sustain oneself, but Canada, being on the West Coast here is, it's probably the most expensive in Canada, so, that was part of my desire to run away. That was a big part of the and then the other, like, childhood trauma and running away from my emotions, and then but when I was away is when I really had the chance to reflect and go deep and heal, and so, like, kind of tying, to conversation that we had earlier was that the business is not just a business, it's really it's part of my personal and transformational growth as well, because it's opened so many doors in terms of like I said, going to this festival, so where it was not only going to make money and grow the brand, but it was me being in an environment with community and supportive people and good food and good music and good vibes that I really started to understand myself better. So it's been such a pleasure. It's such a journey. I feel so grateful that I've been able to pull all of these things together and like into not just one representation, but through doing this business, I've really been able to heal myself actually,
Yeah.
which has been a really powerful journey.
That's incredible. Just a profound representation of just like answering our inner call is so important for us to live our fullest life. And you're answering that inner call to create Bambuddha. It is just a representation of the transformation of your own life and the obstacles. What are some of the obstacles that you have faced along the journey that have been significant for you in Bambuddha?
Oh, the biggest one is financial restraints
Sure.
and not having enough capital to keep growing or taking too much out of the business for my own personal self and
Okay.
getting stuck in that cycle of like not
Hmm.
having enough to promote it or to advertise and market, and then therefore it's not getting seen, and so then it's just kind of this vicious cycle of either just having enough to survive and like keep it afloat, like both myself and the business. And there's moments, of course, it's more when I'm doing events that like those are like big weekends, that kind
Mhm.
of sustain for a little bit longer. But that's been the most difficult challenge is navigating how to do finances,
Right.
basically. Yeah. There's also obviously other ones too, but like making sure I have proper amount of inventory and things like
Yeah.
that.
Were there any, pivotal, like, relationships that you met or built along the way that, were helpful as, like, mentoring or guiding you in any way for the business?
Yeah, I've had quite a few different connections that have been really helpful, and I'm so appreciative of all the people that have been involved. Like a lot of the times people enter, we collaborate for a bit, and then it doesn't really go well or it doesn't end up, kind of becoming a permanent thing. Unfortunately, life changes and people go different directions. But I've been so grateful for everybody that's been involved and has supported the vision as well in the time that they have. And then, as in terms of mentors, I did a few different programs. With like organizations here in Canada that have given business loans, and it comes with a mentor. So I've had a few different people help throughout the journey of kind of just honing in on different aspects of the business, like whatever their forte was or their experience was. So like people helping with marketing ideas or accounting and things like that. So yeah, I've had a good amount of support going through so far.
That's great. That's great. And are you just solely running this business right now?
At the moment, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a feat in itself. That's really quite incredible to be able to do.
It's quite I'm very proud of myself, but I'm also exhausted, to be honest,
Exhausted,
a
yeah,
little bit burnt out. Just kind of focusing on different things at the moment is doing, a couple different jobs alongside and taking a bit of a break from
yeah,
investing everything that I have into the business.
right.
But, I think it's just a phase that I need to kind of, like, just do something a little different or, like, take the gas off a little bit, and I'll circle back and put more into it in a bit, but I just needed a bit of a breather from all the responsibility that was weighing on my shoulders, and I would like to have more people involved, but definitely promoting more of a community, and I still feel like I haven't really been able to sustain having more people involved, which is
Mhm,
unfortunate, which would help also make it more successful, I guess you could say.
mhm,
But again, that's that vicious cycle of like not having the help to create more of the revenue. And then
right,
because I don't have that, then I can't pay for the help. And so, like, that's why I end up still doing a lot on my own. But
yeah.
I hope to be changing that shortly.
What are your next, like, interests and passions, ambitions, maybe with Bambuddha or beyond even?
Well, I definitely have a lot of ideas in terms of like growing the product line and doing more like bamboo clothing and with the
Mhm,
women that I work with in Guatemala. And aside from that, kind of focusing more personally and aside from bambuda in my artistry, I guess I would like to learn how to DJ and do music, singing, and like I know how to sing, but I would like to do it more and record and perform. But again, I'm kind of facing that hurdle that I discussed earlier with you is like putting myself out there and being kind of the
mhm,
fate. Like I still have like a bit of resistance around that.
right,
So that's a goal. It's a passion that I would love to tap into, but I haven't quite got there yet. I'm at the stage of just like collecting all the music that I would want
mhm,
to play, but I
mhm,
haven't really tackled the learning part yet. Yeah,
yeah.
that's one of the goals for sure.
That's awesome. That's a fun addition to the brand, of Bambuda to be able to serve in that artistry way. That's very cool.
Because it kinda ties into I mean, I've been trying to promote a lot and collaborate with a lot of DJs and a lot of artists, so that's where I've been focusing a lot of, like, the influencer marketing on, like, doing photo
Mhm,
shoots and videos with friends that are DJs and kind of getting it out that way and having that promotion, so
yeah.
I just think that that kinda all ties it in together in terms of, the brand image as well.
Yeah. Have you been able to utilize some influencer branding
I
to
have. It's more I have all the content, I've just not really published it a lot.
Okay.
I have, like, so much that I have ready to go, but I
Mhm.
just yeah, it's just kinda sitting there right now, so
Sure. I hear
yeah.
you. And so if you could, what would you say, what is Bambuda's mission? How are I guess you just answered a little bit of this second question, but how are you working towards amplifying that mission?
So, kind of since the beginning, the intention was to uh, become kind of the sunglasses of music festivals, like the
Hmm.
sponsor of like I envisioned not envisioned at the beginning stages, but Tomorrowland, and then it started to turn into like Envision and more of the transformational spiritual festival um, focus. But Bambuddha is the sunglasses of like these events and these festivals and this kind of community and this vibe. So that's one of the goals, and in terms of amplifying it, just continue to do the influencer collaborations with artists and just trying to actually push that more out there rather than just getting the content.
Yeah. Well, that's beautiful. I think that when I first saw you, met you at Envision, that was my first music festival that I had ever attended.
Wow.
And, that's a pretty high bar to set
Yeah.
for music festivals. I had purchased my ticket to that festival, like, 2 years in advance
Oh
because,
wow.
COVID. Uh,
Okay.
because of COVID, it didn't work out, and that Envision Festival happens around my birthday every year. So
Mm,
it's the end of February, that's my birthday, so I was, introduced to a lot of music that I wasn't so familiar with,
gotcha.
and I love a bunch of those artists
Hmm.
now. Shimura is probably my favorite one. He's the one that
Mm,
kinda stands out to me. I would love to see more of your brand and, Bambuddha being worn by these DJs. Over this past weekend here in downtown San Jose, they took over, like, a city block in front of City Hall, like, a couple of blocks in front of City Hall, and, that turned into like a street music event because it surrounded kind of like the Super Bowl that has been in the
hmm.
area recently and stuff like that. It was over this Super Bowl weekend. And so it'd be really incredible to see those DJs rocking, the sunglass brand
The
of music festivals.
Well, yeah, that would be really nice. That's the intention. That's kind of the goal I set out for myself. And maybe it's a big mission. Maybe I'm going up against a lot of competition. But honestly, when I got into Envision that first year, I was like, "How is there no?" I'm just so surprised that there was nobody doing that already. And that's when I was like, "That's because it's supposed to be me." And
Yeah.
then I found that at most festivals, it was like I did Shambhala in Canada here, and Lighting in a Bottle and, Cosmic Convergence in Guatemala, sorry. Like, just so many different ones, and they never had sustainable sunglasses represented at them, like, maybe one of them out of
Cheap
all. It was like
plastic
they were
sunglasses,
all
right?
cheap plastic sunglasses, and I was like, "What is going on?" And they have, like, fancy, like, sustainable clothing that was in
Mhm.
that was in um full form, but not anything in terms of sunglasses. So that's why I was like, okay, this is the direction I need to really focus on, and so that's been the
What you just said is so important, is that you saw that there was this missing need in the market or in this community that you're a part of and seeing in these music festivals. You were seeing this missing thing and you're like, why is it not there? And who's going to do this? Well, it's coming to your
is
mind because you're supposed to be the one to
I'm
do it.
doing it
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I love that
very
so
fitting.
much.
Yeah, it fit very well, and I feel very blessed to be in this position, and I know I created this reality for myself, but I also feel so grateful that I don't know, like, all the pieces came together and made the clicks, and I've had such a remarkable experience thus far, like 10, 11 years now. I've never expected my life to go you just can never know where it's gonna go really, but, yeah, I just feel very blessed.
Yeah, it's incredible that this is birthing from your mind. It's your brainchild, and so
I
what a
love that.
blessing it is that you were gifted this intelligence and this insight and these experiences and this culmination of a life that has generated this brand. So yeah, much gratitude for all of that for sure.
Good.
What advice would you have for early entrepreneurs or people on a similar path or have a desire to do something like this? What wisdom would you share?
If you believe in yourself enough and hold to that, then you can do it. You can make your dream a literal reality. That's been the biggest motto for me is like basically the thought that creates a reality, and believing in enough that the universe starts to conspire to make it happen. It just there's no other way. You have no other choice to make it happen, because that's how strongly you believe, and then the only way the universe is going to respond is to make that happen.
I hear that. It's like the belief in it, the call for it to be manifested into the world, to be brought forth from you into the world is so strong that it could not be otherwise. You could not be doing anything else with your life than to make this happen, than to make
Exactly.
this come true. And I love what you said about the universe then starts to move in your favor. It starts to
That's right.
operate in your favor to make
That's
those
right.
synchronicities happen,
That's
to
right.
make all of the things happen that you need for the product or the business or the transformation of your life, for all of this to be
Mhm.
a reflection of the transformation in your life.
Well, and it's funny because, like, I used to put, Buddha quote on my email signature, and that was, "Your thoughts create your reality." And that's basically what it's been this whole creation of
Mhm.
the business, is just me having the thought and believing it enough, and now that's just happening.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. Bambuddha.earth. Bambuddha.earth. Like, look at these
Ding.
honeycombs. I really love the yellow lenses. You were talking about at the beginning that the yellow lenses that would they make you feel happy,
I
right?
do.
Can you tell us why you love those
Yeah.
sunglasses?
Yeah, so, not only for the fact that they help with the blue light on screens, so I wear them usually when I'm on the computer and on
Mm,
my phone, but also even just on a rainy day or in supermarkets where there's fluorescent white light, like, it just calms that down. It doesn't stress out the nervous system so much, because
yeah.
that's just so unnatural, the lighting that we're exposed to in those environments. But yeah, sorry, so when it is raining out or cloudy out, I wear them, and it just, like, I feel like it just activates that chakra of, like, the happiness hormone is in full production, and it feels like it's sunny out when it's really not. But yeah, it just really brings me into a different space.
Right. Yeah. I think I kind of accidentally got yellow lens glasses once and had like a comparison between the dark lenses and I'm going around and it's, I was traveling. I was like in Cancun or something and I had both sunglasses and I had the dark lenses on. And and it's like, it's protecting my eyes or whatever. But then I put on the yellow glasses and it transformed my whole experience.
Yeah,
So the
totally.
yellow lenses is really it's really underrated.
It is.
Definitely go get some bambuddha yellow lenses and all the styles. These honeycombs are great. I have another pair of them as well. So
These are called Screen Bee,
screen B, nice, nice.
but yeah,
Yeah,
very
love the
activating.
names. The very bee inspired, huh?
Be inspired. Apparently, I really like pizza. I think they're very important, but I do, yeah, I love all nature, all wildlife, but I do try to stick to that theme in naming them. I always try to create something that's reflective of that. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
great. This is really a beautiful reflection of who you are as a person, and Bambuddha could not be any better. Perfect. Bambuddha, be mindful, make an impact, be the change. So, really love the brand. Really loved this conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this with us. And there's a lot of wisdom here that can be shared by the people that watch the podcast and my students in a business program. So it'll be wide ranging and inform a lot of people that really appreciate the insight that you brought to us.
Wonderful. Well, I
Mm,
really appreciate you even initiating this many years ago, the interest to have a chat with me and
Yeah,
investigate further and go deeper into Bambuda. So I really appreciate you having me here, and it's been a pleasure to share.
yeah. Thank you, Jem.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Who is this man talking to? I'm talking to you. You are the realest one